All right, welcome to the Team Nourished team call. It is Monday, February the 28th, and we are going to go ahead and get started here. So first off, welcome, Sally. I know this is your first team call, so I'm really excited to see your face and get to meet you in virtual person. I was going to say in person, but not yet. Tonight's call is going to be about personal development. So one of the 4 vital behaviors of Beachbody, there are 4. So the first is be the proof the product works. So that means do your workouts, drink your shakes, get your personal results, whatever that means for you. So if that means you're looking to increase your biceps, then great. If that means you need to lose weight, then great. But get the results that you came here to get. Be results focused. So that's the first one. The second one is personal development every single day, because our transformations are not just external transformations, right? They're not about looks only. They're about what's going on inside of our head and what's going on inside of our heart, because that's where the true transformation happens. And that's going to be where our call centers tonight. Vital number 3 is invite, connect, and follow up. So that's how we build our business. That's the income producing behaviors. But I am of the belief system that that stuff doesn't work until you're doing the first 2 things, which is being engaged in a program and working on your personal development. And then the fourth one, is recognition. So we're a huge recognition driven team. We are all about celebrating every single life that we helped. I worked in the corporate setting for a really, really long time and never got any kind of acknowledgement for any good thing that I did. The only thing I ever got acknowledgement for was when I screwed up. So our team is here to make sure that that is not the legacy that we're leaving. We want to celebrate every single life that we help. We want to celebrate every single victory in our boot camps, all the good stuff. So in accordance with our wonderful celebration and recognition, we always want to recognize those who are helping other people change their life. So I'm going to screen share really quick, and we're going to do our recognition from the last week. So recognition goes up on our team page every single Thursday, and recognition basically is showing you a digital picture of who is helping impact other people's lives. So first and foremost, we have our weekly top 5. That top 5 is made up of people who are helping other people by, earning Success Club. They're enrolling people onto their team, whether that's just as customers or as coaches or preferred customers. And then also they are making just in general sales. We call that personal volume. And so that means if somebody just wants to buy, Power Greens, you still get recognized for that. So congratulations, Carrie, to our number 1 coach last week. Michelle King came in at number 2, Stephanie Reeves at number 3, Amanda Harold at number 4, and Amy Myers at number 5. Congratulations, ladies. And then Success Club is Beachbody jargon for helping one person with the total solution pack. So there's, tons of different total solution packs, the Go and Glow and the Performance and, Job One, and there's just all kinds of them. But for every one person you help enroll with a total solution pack, you get 2 Success Club points. So Success Club points are just the measurement tool that Beachbody uses to quantify how many people you're helping. And the more people you help, obviously, the more income you make personally, but also the more lives you get to change. And so they have set the personal minimum as Success Club 6. That means helping 3 people every single month. Basically means that you are creating a sustainable business. They've, drilled down the numbers and found that if you're helping 3 people every single month, you're not only paying off your own Shakeology, meaning you're making enough in commission to offset the cost of your personal product. But you're also building a snowball of income. Because I know in the beginning, it doesn't seem like very much, but that's kind of the thing with anything, right? In the beginning, you really have to let it accumulate. And so Success Club kind of shows you the accumulation of that. So Success Club 10 or more, myself at, I think it's SC12 today. Carrie Summers at SC6, Michelle King at SC6 leading the way. And then those of you who are on the board, Kendall Phones at SC2, William Summers at SC2, Amanda Harold at SC2, and Mara Chester at SC2. I know that today is not over. Today is the last day of the month. And so these numbers will get wiped clean tomorrow and we will all be on equal ground, right? But there are still hours in today. We do still have the $20 off promo code that is going on. So that does end tonight at midnight. And so get out there and talk to the people that you've been, connecting with throughout the week or throughout the month. Make sure that they know that this $20 off promo is going to get them the best, most economical way to get into our boot camps to see total change. I do have a lot of times people will want to, I call it nickel and diming their way into their fitness. So they, I want to just try this little piece. I'm going to do, the girl who I enrolled this morning, yesterday, she signed up with a 14-day free trial. Okay, if that's what you're going to do, like sign up with that. But then as we're talking today, I was like, well, don't forget, I do have the $20 off promo. So if you tried the trial and you want to do it, like, let's go ahead and do this. But she was the kind of person that was like, well, maybe I'll try a sampler of Shakeology and maybe I'll try this. And I'm not trying to sell her anything here. The reality is getting a total solution pack at $140 is literally the best, most guaranteed way to get yourself results, because those that pay attention, right? Those that are invested in what they're doing, they're going to seek results. So number one, it's an investment in yourself. And number two, it allows us to give them the 30-day guarantee. So if they're nickel and diming their way into what we're doing, they aren't able to get the full guarantee. The reality is when you purchase a total solution pack, you get a 30-day money back guarantee. That means you can try every drop of the Shakeology. And if you don't like it, guess what? At the day 29, you can return it and get all of your money back. We can't do that if you're nickel and diming yourself all over the place. So I always encourage people to take advantage of the total solution pack because that is going to be the best deal. And like I said, $20 off this month. You cannot beat that. The general price is between 160 and 130 or 230, depending on what package you're getting, what add-ons you're doing and all of that. But for 140, you can't beat that. Couple of quick announcements before we get going with our content tonight. So in the back office, if you have not logged into that yet, be sure you go log in. And this is something that I do every single day because I'm taking care of my business like a business owner. So that means I look at my back office every single day and see what all's going on. One of the features of that is the coach breaking news. So you should always take a look at that and make sure that you know what's going on in the coaching world. Just so you know, there is a bike promo going on right now through March 24th that makes the bike $999, free shipping and handling and free setup, which is freaking amazing. And as a coach in Hawaii who hates the fact that we can't get a bike yet, I want everybody to take advantage of the fact that y'all can get a bike at a really great price. I can't wait till they are able to offer it here in Hawaii, but I will be the very first Hawaiian person or Hawaiian coach. I'm not a Hawaiian person, but I will be the very first Hawaiian coach to buy it. I can promise you that because I'm super excited about it. And having bought a different brand of bike just because it's the only thing I can get here on the island, and I've already used the mixed bike, I really, 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 really like the mixed bike way better. So you get what you pay for, and it is a great bike. Couple of other things coming out soon. The Gut Health Protocol launches March the 15th. This time they are not doing a coach and customer launch. It is just one singular launch on March the 15th. If you did not know already, I didn't get a chance to post about it in our team page today, but they did release the sample workout for the 4 weeks for everybody. That is the workout program that goes along with gut health. It's all the Gut Health Protocol. It is all low impact. It does not mean it's easy. I've had lots of people. Jen, one of my best friends, Jen, is in the test group. She's like, no, my gosh, the workouts aren't easy. They're low impact and they are great literally for every single human. But they are not like, you're not phoning it in. So I thought that was really exciting and very encouraging. Speaking of Jen, she is going to be going live in the Beachbody Champions page. So if you are not in that page, you can just go to Facebook, search Beachbody Champions, request to add into that page. It's a coaches only page. that is run by Beachbody Corporate. And so they have all kinds of trainings, all kinds of everything in there. But our friend Jen Hines is going to be speaking live on Wednesday. So you guys put that on your calendar. Be sure to tune in. She's going to be talking about gut health, or the gut health protocol, what it has done for her and her body. Because funny enough, and she's going to be going live in our team page this week as well. But I guess this would have been probably before that. So probably November before last, it was November before last. She reached out to me. My background is in nutrition. And so she reached out to me, shared her symptoms with me, and said, hey, I know you're not technically my coach, but you are my best friend. And can you help me with some issues that I'm having? She described some pretty typical gut health issues. I prescribed an elimination diet, cutting out the big triggers. She saw really great results from what I had recommended. And then obviously, life happens. And because I did not develop a full-on program for her, it was just me and her talking every week about her gut health and all of that. Life happens. You go on trips, you do the things, you try new stuff, whatever. She'd kind of slip back into it. So in November of this year, it's about a year later, she was like, oh my gosh, Danielle, can you remind me what all the things were that you had suggested that I cut out or phase out so that I can, feel better? Because her belly, and she'll describe this in her video on Monday, on Wednesday, but she has a lot of belly bloat. She has a lot of distension, a lot of painful gas, some GI poop issues that she was not super excited about. And again, the things that we had talked about help. So I reminded her of that. And then literally I think it was like January 2nd or something like that, she got called and got asked to be in the gut health protocol thing. So she's like, oh my gosh, I get to tell you, this is all the same stuff that you worked on, but it's all laid out in a perfectly I don't even know the right word to say, like the most perfect explanation and the most perfect way for you to consistently implement it in your life, because you have Autumn right there on the videos, constantly reminding you of certain things. I'm developing a meal plan to go along with it, but she also gives you tons of recipes and tons of, guidance on how to do it. So I'm really, really excited about the gut health protocol that is launching March 15th. Be sure that you are watching in the Beachbody Champions page. Like I mentioned, that's going to be going off a lot this week for gut health protocol. And then in our team page too, you're going to want to turn on the notifications for that, because Jen is going to be going live in there as well. I'm trying to see if there's any other things that I missed announcement wise. Do you guys, those of you who are on the call that did I miss anything? Make sure I didn't miss anything. I don't think so.
I have a question about the gut protocol, and we may or may not know this yet. I'm just kind of curious, and I can always obviously watch the things, but is it like, since it's a 4-week, are you like eliminating the 4 foods or groups or areas, or whatever you want to call it, that she found or people find to be the most triggering?
Yes.
And then you gradually add them back in. Okay.
Yeah. So,
because I was trying to talk with somebody about it, but then I kind of like fumbled through that.
Well, that's okay. I mean,
I was like, I might be lying here, but I think this is what it's going to be like. So
you're exactly right. You're exactly right. It's actually the 8 most highly inflammatory foods out there. So it's going to be dairy, corn, soy, alcohol, gluten. I said 8, didn't I? I'd have to look at the list again. But those are the ones that I can think of right off the top of my head. So you eliminate all of those for the 4 weeks. And then you're also taking the pro and prebiotic, the digestive enzyme. So Revitalize, if you've done Ultimate Reset, it's the supplements from that. So Optimize and Revitalize for those 4 weeks. And then she has a very measured approach for how to reintroduce them, so that you know if you are sensitive to those specific things or not. I was having a conversation with Katie Moore earlier today. She and I, that are very anti-diet, very you don't need, I personally believe you should not be eliminating food groups from your diet, all the things, right? And so everything in moderation. And so this is a really difficult thing for a lot of people that believe that to understand. But the reality is not everybody has gut health issues. The way you're going to want to put this out forward is, do you have unexplained issues with cramping, bloating, gassiness? You have been unable to lose weight, even though you are following a measured approach. You're not eating all the things. And you're like, I don't know why I can't lose weight, but like, you're actually following a program, you're doing it, and things still aren't clicking. Do you have skin issues? That's a lot of sensitivities to foods and things like that. And so this is a really great way to eliminate the highly inflammatory items, and then measured approach wise, bring them back in. And Autumn goes over all of that in the program. Michelle, did you have a question?
Oh, I was just wondering, is there a Vimeo link for the, what is it, 4 weeks for everybody?
I have not seen a Vimeo. I've only seen it on BOD right now. I will look into a Vimeo link after we get off the call and see if I can't find something. Okay. But right now it's only on BOD. So everybody that is on BOD, you have access to it. So be sure you try it out, share it with the people online that you're talking to. There's some really great, I've posted them in the team page, some really great, what do you call them? Like Instagram stories that you can just literally save from Facebook. I mean, we are giving you as much pre-programmed content as humanly possible. So you just have to connect with the people. And one of the things I saw Jamie Shepard do, who's another top coach who I just really adore and respect, she asked, kind of like we've done in other launches, like, I'm looking for 25 people to try out a brand new workout program who need low impact and who generally have gut health issues. If you're already doing a Beachbody program, please, don't apply, kind of thing. And so she's sending out the link that way, which I thought was really smart and a great way to connect with people. But again, it's not a link drop. You're not just posting a link and being like, hey, here's a new free workout, try it. Because again, those that pay don't pay attention, right? Those that you don't have any connection to are not paying attention to you. You are just white noise in the background. So have a conversation with people, put up some kind of post about, like, maybe you have a story with gut health. Maybe that's something that you've really struggled with in the past. Tell your story, be vulnerable about that, and then connect with other people who are having or had the same or have the same issues as you. Is a really great way to, actually get your message across to people.
And will those 4 weeks of that program come with the purchase of?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It will come with the purchase of the gut health protocol. And I also, I feel like I posted the prices. Maybe I didn't. I've saved a lot of things and have not posted all of them. So if the prices and packages are not in the team page, when you go look there, let me know and I will make sure I get them up ASAP, because I think
I saw the graphics. I don't remember seeing the stories, but I'll go back and look.
Okay. I think that's a link you have to click because it's on Autumn's website. Yeah. Anything else? Any other questions before we kind of dive into personal development stuff tonight? All right, you guys. So every week we have a different theme for our call. So, because I know there's some people who haven't been on the calls since the first of the year and new coaches. And I know I have a new coach watching the recording later because she couldn't get on. But so every week is a little bit different, but I try to keep a very similar flow and pattern to it. So one of the weeks is always a guest speaker. One of the weeks is a power hour where we just get on here live and work together. One of the weeks we call book club, which is kind of silly because it's not really a book club because we're not all reading the same book. But we basically are sharing an insight or something we learned from the personal development that we are currently reading. And because it is a vital of our behavior, it's not an optional thing. I treated personal development like an optional thing for a very, very long time. I thought, oh, well, I do a devotional and I read my Bible and I'm good. I don't need any personal development. I'm not a woo-woo kind of girl. So I don't need to do that. What I found was I was incredibly prideful, just super, super prideful. And I truly believe personal development has been the number one thing that has impacted my life out of Beachbody than anything else. Yes, I've lost 85 pounds. Yes, I have now hiked, I think 70 some odd hikes and paddleboarded all over Hawaii and done incredible things. Nothing has compared to the internal transformation with personal development. So that's my little spiel, because I think personal development and continual personal development, not read one book and be like, okay, great, I'm personally developed, all good. But a lifelong attitude of improvement is what I really believe all of us should be striving for. And that, there was it's like a meme or whatever on Instagram that I've read that's like hurt people hurt people. And there was an antithesis to that of healed people heal people. And I truly believe that if we are called to impact others' lives in a positive direction, we have to continually be working on healing ourselves. So, Carrie, do you want to go first and share anything from your personal development? Just tell people what you've been reading and if there's some kind of takeaway that you've gotten from that.
So, first and foremost, I've very sporadically been reading this. It's called Worth It. I think I got it because Rachel Hollis recommended it, and I had read, I guess it was Girl Stop Apologizing or something. I don't know. But it's called Worth It, and the headline is Overcome Your Fears and Embrace the Life You're Made For. So, of what I've read so far, I'm only on like chapter 4. So a little bit of a background. The author is gay, but she is also a pastor of a church somewhere. So basically, she is just talking about embracing the person that you are and not letting like the molds of society keep you in your box and just being the person that you are meant to be. So a lot of it so far has just kind of been her telling her story and how she's kind of stepped out into her own so far. I think the next chapter will be, this is Choosing Freedom Means Choosing Change. So I'm looking forward to reading that one. But other than that, I don't have a whole lot other than her story personally.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I had never heard of that book. I wrote it down. Thank you for sharing it.
Uh-huh.
Michelle, do you want to go next?
I am reading You Are a Badass, and I haven't read it in like a week because of my trip and everything. I need to add it back to my morning routine. But a lot of it is just talking about like not learning that what you have to offer is good enough, and using the qualities that you already have to get yourself to the success that you want. Because he talks about, I hope I'm not getting my books mixed up. I don't think so. He talks about like athletes, like Olympic athletes. He compares like a runner who runs a mile, and their physique of that person is very different than, say, Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps is very tall. He's very, a lot of swimmers are very tall. It's good for their sport. A lot of runners are shorter. And that's good for their sport. It's like using the things that you already have about you, your qualities, even your physical qualities and everything, to help you in what you're trying to achieve. So I kind of forgot some of it already because I haven't read in a week, but I really I don't remember. And just learning that you're capable of accomplishing things that others can't. Like, no one else is you. You are the only one that has your qualities to be yourself and offer what you have to offer.
That's great.
What did I say?
Yeah. Renee was just answering.
Are you reading that, Renee? Are you reading it still?
Yeah. Yeah, I am still reading it. I know. Personal development is the thing that I struggle with the most, which I really shouldn't. But I am on chapter 14. So
that's fantastic.
I'm a little bit further along. But so to piggyback off of what Michelle was saying, since what she kind of like, I love how she writes her, how she writes her books, because she gives kind of like a small story that's going to go along with what she's saying, whether it's a personal one or something that she's ran into or something like that. And then she kind of connects it with some steps. And so I really like that because it is a pretty easy, quick read. The chapters are short. So you could read a chapter in 10 minutes, probably like in the morning, kind of quickly. And I love how she ends whatever she's talking about. Like, so like, there's like steps at the end of every chapter. And I love how everyone at the end is like, love yourself. Love yourself. I mean, I think it all ends with like, love yourself. And it's just so funny because you get to the next chapter and you're reading it and you're like, oh yeah, love yourself. And then you read on and you're like, oh yeah, be kind, love yourself. But I think there's some humor in it. And I do like the things that she has to say. So I think it's a good, easy, quick read. And I am on chapter 14. So it's probably the farthest I've gotten in a personal development book in a very long time.
Am I getting my books mixed up? Did they talk about the athletes? What did I just finish? I already forgot.
Atomic Habits.
I kind of stop you, but I was like, it still sounds like
just let her go. Yeah. Just let her go.
Because I follow John Acuff that wrote Atomic Habits, and I see his stuff every day. So I was even saying thinking, I forgot this other girl wrote You Are a Badass. Whatever. I got my books mixed up.
You're so funny. I mean, honestly, she would say something very similar.
Yeah. I'm like, what did I read? It doesn't seem right.
Yes. Well, and I will tell you, Renee, I'm really proud of you for continuing because I know how hard it is. I mean, again, I joke about like how long it took me, but when I first started coaching, the way that we did New Coach Basics was like, I went into a group with Jackie and we were assigned a book and we had, I think it was like a 2-week thing. I could not read a book in 2 weeks at that point in time. And it was a short book too. It was, oh shoot, not I always get it confused with the compound effect. But it's the exact same thing. Like it's literally the exact same concept as the compound effect. Anyways, Jeff Olson is who wrote the book that I'm trying to think of, but I can't think of the name of it. But anyways, I couldn't do it. So then I did the next round of Coach Basics. I couldn't do it again. Like it took forever. And I think too, sometimes you have to find the things that click with you, Sally. I'm also going to post in here in just a minute. I have on my website, I have a list of personal development books broken down by category. And sometimes I think it's helpful to focus on the personal development that like you really need, it all depends on what you're struggling with. Like if you're struggling with worth and believing in yourself and believing that your voice matters, you need a very different book than if you are struggling with consistency, maybe, so I love that. And that's kind of why we do these book club meetings, is because everybody's doing something different. And so it's fun to learn from everybody. But I love, Kendall, you wrote that you're reading that too. Are you able to take yourself off mute and share what you're getting out of You Are a Badass?
Sure.
Yay.
I'm only on like chapter 4. I also have a hard time keeping up with all this personal development, but I'm trying. I like this one as well. Like Renee said, I really like this one because I can fit it in like 10 minutes in the morning, which is really nice. Because I also do like a Bible devotional or something in the morning. So this is nice to actually like feel like you're getting your personal development in without spending a whole lot of time on it. But mainly so far I've just gotten out of it. It's just kind of identifying and changing your self-sabotaging beliefs and behaviors to get what you want like from your life, and also to like love and respect yourself. So that's kind of what I've gotten out of it so far.
Yeah, that book, I remember exactly when I listened to that. My poor children, we always joke because I do a lot of my personal development via audiobook. So just in the car as I'm driving. And so we were on a road trip from Tennessee to Virginia to visit my folks one time. And so my kids got to listen to You Are a Badass. And I remember Davin being like, I don't know, 3 or 4, and several of you have met Davin, so you know that he's incredibly precocious and very perceptive, and not offended by bad words, because he sure has heard his mom listen to them and say them lots. But I remember him going, "Mommy, what is a badass?" And I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be listening to this book. But I do think it's fun to be able to give my children something positive to listen to too, and because they're going to hear so many negative messages from the world that tells them all kinds of things. And so I love that part of listening in the car with mom is that you hear things that are building you up and filling your cup. So but I listened to that book on a road trip, and the standout story that she told that I tell it all the time in my private coaching sessions, in my boot camp, all the time. I talk about this story. I think I even talked about it in my book. I can't remember what chapter it is, but she talks about accidental benefits. I don't know if you've gotten there yet, Renee, where she tells a story about a guy on crutches. And, you think like being on crutches is bad, but you start to kind of like the benefits of your disability in that. Like you start to like that everybody's opening the door for you and they're carrying your things for you and they're doting all over you. And so there's this moment where you kind of milk it a little bit. And she talks about that, like with the thought process behind being broke. Like, yes, being broke sucks. Not having money to be able to do what you want to do sucks. But there's also some accidental benefits in being broke. Your friends pay for your dinner sometimes. If you choose you don't want to go out because you're being introverted or whatever, you can be like, oh, I can't, I'm so sorry, I'm broke. You start using your stories as crutches. And she was talking about like literal and figurative crutches. But I remember that being such a powerful story for me, because as somebody who was heavier my whole life, I did not ever give any thought to how much of a benefit that really was to me. There was a lot of things that I got to get out of because I was too big or out of shape, or, I didn't ever have to say no thank you to food because, I'm the big girl. So who really cares? Like it was really eye-opening to me, how often I had used whatever negative story in my life in an accidental benefit way. So I love that book. It was one of my very first personal development books. And I think that everybody should read it. Let's see, Sally, I'm assuming, and if you have been reading personal development, by all means, take yourself off mute. Okay. I'm going to share mine really quick, and then we can chat about coaching stuff too. So I will tell you guys, I have gotten so much into personal development that I generally read one personal development book and one business development, either book or podcast or seminar or something, because I'm always trying to grow both myself and my business. So my personal development this past month, I actually finished it super early in the month because I loved it so much, was The High Five Habit by Mel Robbins. That is another one of my very favorite authors. She wrote The 5-Second Rule, which is, again, a completely life transforming book, in my opinion. But she wrote The High Five Habit. And the premise of the book is basically you wake up every morning, you put your hand on the mirror, you stare at your face, and you give yourself a high five. Like, literally, it's the simplest premise for a longer book. I'm like, you really don't need like a whole book on this. But she's such a beautiful storyteller, and she really goes into a lot of different neuropsychology things. And you guys know, most of you know, I'm a huge neuropsychology nerd. And so I love how she brings that element of it into her writing. But it's a really, really wonderful book. It's really all about her idea of it is all that you're not really getting high fives. It's kind of like our team culture, you know, of celebrating all the lives and all the wins. Like, you don't really get high five from the rest of the world. Like, you don't even get high five from yourself. Most of the time when you look in the mirror, you immediately start tearing yourself down. But she's like, the psychology with high fiving, like not even yourself, but she talks about like running a race, right? Like if you're running a 5K or a marathon or something like that, and you run down the, you know, line and somebody gives you a high five, that's an instant brain to hand connection that you're doing something good. You high five your kids, they, you know, they will never associate a high five with a negative thing. You're not ever scolding or reprimanding and giving a high five at the same time. It's always a building up, encouraging, positive push. And so her thing is giving yourself a high five first thing in the morning. You can't be tearing yourself down if you're physically high-fiving yourself in the mirror. Obviously, she has some other things. There's some affirmation pieces of it in the book. And I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Some focal point sort of things, like what you focus on. And we know that from, you know, our own personal lives. What you focus on is what you notice. So just like when you know, start a gratitude journal, when you start focusing on gratitude, you see things to be grateful for. When you focus on the negative, you're going to see negative, yucky things. So kind of the same premise, and what you focus on is what you get. And I'll put that one in there for you too, Sally, because I highly recommend that one as well, especially if you're struggling with just feeling down a lot. The business development one, and I think I have like 30 more minutes of reading this in my audiobook, but I liked it so much that I bought the physical copy, and I have been listening to the audiobook. He's written several other books as well, but I think .com Secrets was his other one. He's a salesman. He teaches sales. He teaches his whole thing is funnels and getting people from point A to point B in a sales funnel and all the things. But one of the coaches that I really, really highly respect is like obsessed with this guy and his book. And so I thought, why not? She's doing amazing. I think last month she hit Success Club 140, 160. So obviously something she's doing is working. And so success leaves clues, and I'm happy to pick up the clues as she's willing to share them. So I have really enjoyed the book. It is not personal development. It is not feely, touchy, lovey, make yourself feel good kind of material. It is marketing. It is sales. It is understanding your customers and how to get them, again, from I can't do this, it's too much money, like all of their self-limiting beliefs, and how to get them to a point where not only are they excited about joining you, ready to join you, and ready to sign up, but they're also advocates for you and what you're doing. He's like, the majority of my success, he touts the majority of his success in his business is not just from what he's done, but it's from what his customers have referred to him. You know, they are out there. He's like, I don't even have to pay for marketing hardly at all now, because all of my customers are out there marketing for me. And like, how amazing would it be if you had all of your customers, it's called Expert Secrets by Russell Brunson. Like I said, I'm a listener. Like, I listen to audiobooks, but this one has a lot of, number one, his drawings are just fantastic. You know, they're stick men with dominoes and things like that. but there are a lot of, the reason I bought it in hard copy was I think I got to like, I don't know, chapter 2 or 3. And he was like, okay, I'm going to give you the 6 scripts or the 6 or 12 or whatever closing statements or questions that you want to ask. And I'm like, I can't write this stuff down while I'm driving. So I, bought the book, and that way I have them. But anyways, I just really enjoy, I mean, there's things about the book that I don't like, but I do think he's incredibly intelligent, and I think his methods are incredibly successful and work. So I'm going, and have already because I'm launching a nutrition course separate from Beachbody outside of this. And I've already been using some of his guidance from this book to help successfully launch that. So, and it's no different than what you do with Beachbody. It just happens to be that I created a course, and now I'm going to do this as well, as a standalone course. But anyways, I'm like I said, I'm probably about 30 minutes from the end. But there's several things that he has said in here that have really stuck with me. And I'm trying to see if there's, if I've marked any in the book. One of the things with Audible that I really like, and I think I've shared this with some of you before. Let me make sure it's not going to turn on. So as I'm listening, I obviously have it propped up in the little cup holder thing in the car, but there's a button down here that says clip. And so when I'm listening to the book and I hear something that I'm like, yeah, I really want to go back to that and revisit it, I just hit the clip button. And so then I can go back in, and there's a segment here called clips and bookmarks. So it takes 30 seconds prior to when you hit the clip button and 30 seconds after that. But yeah, it's got some really amazing, things in there. And one of the things he talks about is using your story to impact other people. And that's literally what we do as coaches. We take our story and we learn how to share it in a way that impacts other people's lives. And he talks about, there's another book that he references in this that I also, for business, I guess, development, like learning how to own a business, I would highly recommend as well. And I actually heard this guy at a seminar probably 5 years ago, and I loved it, but it's called The Story Brand by Donald Miller. And I'll put that in the comments here as well. But that one really goes through like how to tell your story in a way that helps people see themselves in your story. Because we all know, like, no matter what you believe currently, we all know in our heart, we all have a story, and that story is relevant, and that story is something that can impact other people, if you choose to share it. But I think a lot of us need help with getting that skill mastered. It's not something that most people know how to do without some training. Some people are naturally gifted storytellers, but even still, you have to have a little bit of training, I feel like, in how to tell a story with a purpose, and how to tell a story that keeps your reader or your listener, if you're talking in Instagram stories, or you're doing a reel, or you're posting a post, or you're talking physically with another human being, and they ask, like, a good example is like, oh, Michelle, what do you do? You're at the playground, you meet some new mom, she's, kids are playing, and she's like, oh yeah, what is it that you do? And you're like, so like, I'm a health and fitness coach. And she's like, wow, that's amazing. Tell me about that. How did you get into that? And now you have like this short opportunity to tell your story before she leaves and goes away. And it's, how do you deliver that story in several different formats? So like one of the things he talks about in here, he calls them frameworks, but it's basically telling your story in 30 seconds is the exact same framework as telling your story in an hour. He's like, it doesn't matter how long you have to tell your story. They should all have the same elements. You just have more time to expound on different pieces of that story if the time allows. And so, I think that that's one of the skills that, as I've worked my coaching business and as we've grown as a team, that I continue to see people getting better and better and better at, and that I have gotten certainly better at, is telling my story in a way that helps other people see themselves in it. Because our businesses, while yes, they are about our story, it's not about us. It's about the other person. It's about helping that other person realize that they also can get from point A to point B, and like connecting that all back around again. That goes back to the 4 vitals, right? Like personal development connects all the way back with your be proof the product works. I mean, you've got to, the internal transformation and the external transformation go hand in hand. And I use this kind of statement a lot. I wrote about it in my book, and I've talked about it in our team page a lot, and just all over the place. But you can have all the 6-pack abs you want and eat all the kale and be as ripped as you can possibly be. But if your head is screwed up, you're not healthy. And so all of those things go together, and you've got to make that time investment on your head too. So again, that's kind of why we do these little book club things. Our next one's at the end of March. So just know that will be, that'll be what we do at the end of March. And if you, like I said, Sally, I know you said you need recommendations or things to look through, but I also think as people are finishing their books, you want new things too. So I will post that list really quick. And does anybody have any other questions? We have like 10 more minutes or so before our time is up. You can just take yourself off mute.
I will have this done by the end of it.
Yay. It's not a race. So if it takes you a while, like, I don't know.
Yeah, but again, if I really did at the time of, even if it was 5 minutes every morning, I would be so much further along. So I'm holding myself accountable.
Are you guys, I know I've shared this. I feel like I shared this like 1,000 times. So I don't know if I've already shared it with you guys. Hold on. Let me go grab it really quick.
Renee, I try to read like 15 minutes every morning, and it's taking me forever to it takes me forever to finish any book. I'm just a slow reader.
You know what? I'm going to be honest. I don't blame very many things on COVID, because I don't. That just is not how I am. But COVID royally effed up my morning routine, because I drive an hour to work and an hour from work. And so I used to have to get up at like 4:30, and I only function on 6 hours of sleep. And I was my best at 6. Like I was like, anything more, I was super tired throughout the day, and I functioned at 6, and I was at my best. And since I was forced home, I started using those 2 hours to sleep. And now I'm like used to this 8-hour BS, and I can't get over it. And I'm just trying to like cut it back, and maybe not back to 6, because I need sleep and good sleep, but like that piece of my life is actually the most upsetting thing to me that I have. But I'm going to stop complaining about it and just take some action. But yeah, those 5-10 minutes, it's like, honestly, my alarm would go off at 4:30, and I'd be like, oh, I just want to lay there. Oh, I can have energized. I'm going to get up. And that's all it took to get me out of bed, was just to drink some energize. And now I'm like, no.
Well, and know that there's seasons for things, and don't, I think the more you beat yourself up about stuff like that, the harder it is to like rebound from it. So give yourself some grace and start setting your alarm clock 15 minutes earlier every day. I will say I was a very faithful 5:15er every morning. 5:15, the alarm would go off. And now, and I don't know if it's COVID or being 37 or what, but now it's 5:45. And I also will say, like, Matt is now working out before me every day, and I don't work out until after the kids go to school. And so I think there's that like piece in my head that's like, you do not have to do this right now. But I wanted to share this with you guys. Yes, I'm telling you, the Energize is all it takes. I mean, it is the thing that gets me out of bed, because my and you guys will probably think I'm crazy, but maybe you do this too, but like I talk to myself constantly in my head. And so I'm laying there and I'm like, you know, that if you just get up, you get energized and you will feel better. Like you will feel better. And like, I just have this whole conversation. I'm like, all right, well, if I take the Energize and I don't feel any better and I don't want to wake up, I'm going back to bed. And like, I think I'm like, there's something wrong. This is what I wanted to share with you guys. So this is in my boot camp and I really need to just put it in our team page. Stole it from Moira. I don't know what she's going to do with it. If she's going to use it for a book later on, whatever. I was a very, very faithful, what is it? Rise Up Planner user. Moira is another coach on our team, who developed a planner and I loved it. But at the end of last year, it just was not doing what I wanted it to do anymore. But I will tell you, it is the stupidest thing. And again, I think it goes back to like my wonky brain, but I love this tracker. I love coloring in the blocks. I love the way it's a circle. I love the way it looks all stacked up. And the other thing that I love is you grade yourself. And I'm going to keep them because I'm, psychotic like that. But this is my one from January. So we can see, look at how much, like, this is the kind of stuff that gets me going, because look at this one and look at the blank spaces on this one, like totally different. And so I am now able to get excited about my progress. Whereas like, I don't know, prior to seeing it on paper, that I would have really recognized and celebrate. Like I probably would have been like, oh yeah, it was probably about the same as last month. But what I've noticed is once I started, this like caused me to be extremely honest with myself. Like for example, one of these is meals only. And so you can see meals only, there were none there. There was one day there, and then there was a huge stretch of not eating meals only. And then like one or two, and then we got better toward the end of the month because I was doing Ultimate Reset. But my physical progress was not where I wanted it to be at the end of the month. Well, you want to know something? Meals only, it was 11 days out of 31, which is a 35%. So 35% of my month, I had meals only. Well, no freaking duh why I didn't see the results I wanted to see, right? Same with, 30 minutes of workout was 21 days out of 31, which is a 67%. Well, if we're going on the grading scale, my friends, that's still an F, right? Like, so I failed. And so I started grading. I told Matt, I was like, I'm giving myself a grade from now on. And he thinks I'm crazy. But there's not a single, well, that's not true. 1 gallon of water, I did way better than any of the other things, but that's not as hard of a thing for me. But this has been something that it's in my morning process, like what I do every single morning. I have like a little group of books, like notebook and Bible and stuff. And so I do this every morning. And it's just ridiculous how motivating it can be, because the other night, Matt offered, what did he offer me? Something like, oh, we had leftovers from camping. And he was like, oh, do you want me to go? I'll make you like a microwave s'more. And I was like, no, because all day I have followed my meal plan and I am not going to check off that little block because you're tempting me with s'mores. And so it's funny how something so silly like this, like has made such a big impact on my morning. So anyways, I thought I would share that with you guys. I will put it in the team page as well, but it is in my boot camp for those of you that are in there. I need to like just pin it to the top, but it's been a fun way to track. But all of that to say, personal development is on there. So if that's one of the things that you struggle with being consistent with, that might be a really great way for you to track your consistency with it. Because again, there's something satisfying about coloring in the little bubble. So, all right, you guys, does anybody have any questions before we head out? We're right at the end of our time. So, yes, Carrie, yes. And actually, funny enough, you mentioned the Miracle Morning Tracker. Cece made the one that we used, God, what was that, like 4 years ago? And it was just an Excel spreadsheet that her husband had created, but I am so bad with Excel. Like I cannot. Matt has to do everything on Excel for me. I don't know why my brain does not use Excel well. But I was like, do you think Scott would do? But you know how Cece's just dealing with a lot. And so she was like, I don't know if I can get that, because it was like a whole year breakdown. And I think it was like 2017 or something. But it was a really good little tracker. So, but yes, it does remind me a lot of that. And these are just, I think she calls them high vibe habits stack. And it's morning process, 20 minutes of personal growth. I put 1 gallon of water. She had a half gallon, but I drank 1. 30-minute workout, 20 minutes of outside time, and meals only. So you're not tracking a ton of crazy stuff. It's just like the things that in general would be good for any human being to be doing. So anyways, I will make that available for you guys as well. So. All right, guys, thank you for hopping on. I did already take a quick picture. So Sally, I guess Carrie can give us your Instagram if you're on Instagram and you want to be tagged in this stuff. Carrie can do that. So I'm gonna get connected.
Hey, Danielle, I have one quick question about the 4-week gut protocol.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know any information on if I would still be able to use the digestive boost in my shakes?
Ooh, that is a really good question. I do not know the answer to that, but I will get the answer, Kendall, and I will get back to you.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you. I just thought of it today.
Same. And thank you. I have not given that any thought. So I will ask and get back to you as soon as I can. Great question.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, great question. Anything else? All right, you guys. Well, we'll see you back here next week. And get in the team page. If you have any questions, feel free to get in there or private message any of us. So bye, guys.